All right, welcome everybody. This is the Inovateus Solar Educational Series, Investing in Your Energy Future, Volume 1. The topic today is the ITC Step Down and Solar Trends. My name is Tyler Kanaczuzewski. I'm our VP of Marketing and Sustainability. I'm our moderator today. And I also have joining me Tim Powers, Research and Policy Associate, and Nathan Vogel, our VP of Business Development. How are you guys doing today?
Good, thanks for having us.
Awesome. Well, excited to talk today about some of the ITC trends. Before that, I just wanted to give you guys a little background on Inovateus Solar. Our mission is building a brilliant tomorrow. We were founded in 2008, and we have been a developer, EPC, and supplier. We've done over 400 megawatts of projects in the Midwest and North America and the Caribbean as well. So we have a strong network of solar industry investors, suppliers, partners, our customers, and we do state-of-the-art turnkey services. We're a leader in sustainable practices. We've got great industry knowledge, do a lot of research, and as well as technological development expertise. We specialize in regulatory and policy engagement as well, and we're always trying to stay on the cutting edge of solar technology. So the first question I wanted to get started with is about the ITC, how it works and what the trend is. So Tim, as we know, there's a lot of talk in the industry and discussion around the likely phase out of the ITC tax credit. If you wouldn't mind, could you explain what the ITC is and what the current step down process looks like?
Yeah, sure thing. So the ITC is what's called the investment tax credit for solar. It's been around since 2005. That's a 30% investment tax credit that anyone who purchases solar and pays taxes will receive on their taxes either the following year or years after that, as long as they hit that 30% value of the solar array put on their facility. So this program from the federal government is slated to step down 4% following this year. In 2020, this will go down to 26%. In 2022, this will drop down. 2021, this will drop down to 22%, and in 2022 and beyond, pending no changes on the federal regulatory side, it'll stay at 10% for the immediate future.
Good deal. Well, as we're seeing this potential step down, Nathan, what do you think will happen to the industry? You know, how will organizations and individuals be affected by this potential step down, and as well as like their investments?
Sure. Well, as Tim mentioned, the ITC is currently at a 30% federal tax credit, and then next year goes down to 26%, the following year down to 22%, and then 10%. This affects the overall return on investment for projects and could be affected. This could be affected depending on which year you lock your project into. And so a number of projects are safe harboring, and that's kind of starting to wrap up for 2019, the ability to safe harbor. But there still may be some time to lock yourself into the 30% ITC. Many organizations, what they're doing to safe harbor are buying safe harboring panels or other materials on the project. And because of this, there are issues with the panels, issues with availability and pricing right now. The demand for panels in 2019 has increased, and so has the price. We expect 2020 to be a very busy year for the solar industry, with projections around 18 gigawatts. And then the ITC, like we mentioned, steps down again next year. And because of this, people will be trying to safe harbor materials for projects again next year in order to try to lock that that 26% in. Another thing to note here is that the PPAs aren't expected to be significantly impacted by the step down in 2020.
Okay. So as we're seeing, the market's definitely evolving. And with that being said, Tim, aside from the ITC hurdles, what are your thoughts on how the solar industry has matured in 2019, as well as have there been any critical rebates, incentives, or policy changes that have supported the growth in the central U.S.?
Yeah, so as everyone knows, the solar market's still fairly new compared to other established industries. That doesn't mean, there's any serious concern about shifting policies, but states bring on new incentive programs and new, development strategies for commercial, industrial, and utility programs. There's always going to be a shift in the market. As this map shows, the darker colored states have more installed solar capacity. In the Midwest, you have Minnesota, Illinois, Indiana, soon to be Michigan and Ohio as well, which will be seeing an influx in the number of installations in those states. In some cases, that's due to policy changes. Other states, not quite so much. But we at Inovateus follow these changes very closely to support our customers, and we really prioritize following that as close as we can in order to stay up to date in the market and stay competitive with to sort of best serve our customers. Just to check in on some of these states specifically, Illinois currently has an SREC program, which is very healthy and growing. An SREC is a solar renewable energy credit. That's another line of revenue that customers can see coming in for a project they are able to install in the state of Illinois, and then also eventually sell those credits to somewhere in the market down the line. In Michigan, there's a host of new pro-solar bills, which we would expect the state legislature to pass sometime in 2020. That includes community solar, a lift of the net metering cap in the state. Currently, only 1% of a utility's capacity could be interconnected under full retail net metering, and that is expected to change, which would be a big plus for the solar industry across the state in 2020. And finally, in Indiana, policy is not expected to change dramatically in 2020, but for commercial industrial customers, that should still be a viable state for projects looking to be built in this year and future years as well.
Okay. Well, thanks on that, Tim. Nathan, there's a lot of tools and resources out there that we use. Some of these tools, anybody can technically use. So, could you provide, some of those resources that people can use and ways to do market research on your own?
Sure, I'd be happy to talk about that. It's very important for companies in the solar industry like Inovateus to keep up on the landscape changes in the industry and then throughout the marketplace, and that's something we focus here at Inovateus on. We've got a few people dedicated to research and policy, just to vet out these things and stay up to speed on the market. There are a number of moving parts involved in a solar project outside of your typical materials and engineering. You've got electrical prices, policy, different incentives, different utility regulations and tariffs throughout each project, depending on where you're installing these systems. And a great website to visit is desireusa.org, and you can see the location here on the slide. It's DSIREUSA.org. And this site has up-to-date information on rebates, tax credits, incentives from the local utility level to the federal level, also state incentives. Policy and incentives are always changing, and this is a good place to stay up to speed on those changes. Another organization that has great information on industry trends and general industry information is SEIA.org. SEIA stands for Solar Energy Industry Association. This is one of the best trade organizations in the solar industry. They share some great industry data, projections, and strategies throughout the solar industry. So I recommend everybody visit that site also to stay up to speed on some of the changes in the market. And then the market's also seeing more efficient cells and panels. You're starting to see storage becoming more mainstream, and we expect to see price decreases over the coming years in the storage realm. There are a number of tracker technologies coming to the marketplace, and we're starting to see less expensive options when it comes to racking and trackers. So that's a trend we're also seeing.
Great. Yeah, it's definitely been exciting to see some of the new tech evolve. Well, I want to jump over and discuss some opportunities for solar customers to secure future energy costs due to the likelihood of implementing carbon tax by the mid 2020s. So Tim, jump over to you here. How does becoming a solar customer hedge against rising energy prices, and what are some of the patterns we're seeing with retail energy prices and projections moving forward?
Yeah, happy to get into this. So as the graph on the left here shows, over the last decade or so, similar to a gallon of gas or a gallon of milk, energy, the wholesale level has gradually increased, which means that energy at the retail rate also will gradually increase over the years. On the right, the graph is showing what that percentage increase or decrease is per year in the price. As you can see, every year except for 2016, there's been an increase of some kind, and typically that's well over 1%. So solar customers or future solar customers will benefit by hedging against fluctuations in the market and rising energy costs. If you engage in a power purchase agreement for power, then you'll be locked in at a consistent rate for 20 or 25 years, whatever that contract is going to be. So solar is a great hedge against a market that can be unpredictable. But based on energy trends in the past, it's fair to say that energy is going to continue being more expensive while solar is becoming more and more available and more accessible for folks who want it.
That's great. Well, the utilities and energy market experts are predicting carbon taxes to become more common by 2025. Would you mind digging into this a bit more?
Yep. So to break this down in simple terms, utilities and really the top energy consultants in the industry expect that by, like this graph says, by 2025, roughly there will be a carbon tax at the federal level, possibly even the state level, imposed on any utility or any energy production facility, which in turn is going to make retail power more expensive. Here the dollar per ton is jumping up to $8 right as the first year begins, which means that customers could expect retail prices to jump significantly in some cases to match those rising costs for the utilities who are providing the power. So again, solar would hedge against that and shield a solar owner from any fluctuations in the market and increases in energy prices.
Yeah, definitely some things are going to change here moving forward. So that brings us to our last big topic of today, and I just wanted to show a chart here, solar growth trends graphic and projections for 2020 and years beyond. I wanted to open up this question to both of you. What are your safest predictions for 2020 and say the next 5 to 10 years for solar and storage?
Yeah, so as the graph shows, the market is expected to keep growing in the next 5 years and onward from there. The gray here is the utility market, and then the non-residential being the commercial market expected to grow as well, which we're excited about. And this essentially means that more solar access for folks trying to go that route. So we're excited about that. I think that's going to mean a lot more new technology coming into the marketplace, including storage, which Nathan already touched on here. Nathan, any comments on that?
Yeah, we're going to start to see more storage throughout the marketplace, from residential to commercial and industrial projects to utility projects. And as storage kind of evolves and the price continues to come down, it's going to become more attractive to the marketplace and make a lot more sense. And as prices continue to raise, utility and electrical prices, it's just going to make more and more sense to have some sort of storage system as a backup.
Well, thanks, guys. Any other final thoughts as we look into the future here? Anything that excites you? Working here at Inovateus Solar in South Bend, Indiana. Obviously the Midwest has been behind the times a little bit in terms of solar installation, but now we're seeing all this growth. So just any final thoughts?
Yeah, it's an exciting time to be in the solar industry. Historically, over the last 10 or 15 years, we've seen a lot of solar come to the coast of the United States. Over the last couple of years, we've seen many more projects being developed in the Midwest and a lot more capacity being installed in the Midwest. And so it's just an exciting time to be in the solar industry and to be in the Midwest to see this. In terms of new energy brought online in the U.S., solar accounts for the highest percentage of new capacity. And solar capacity will more than double in the next 5 years. So it's an exciting time to be in the solar industry.
Awesome.
Yeah, just to echo that. Really thrilled to be doing what we're doing now at Inovateus, and hoping to bring all these new developments and pass these benefits on to our customers as the market becomes more beneficial to the off-taker.
Great. Want to just show on our last screen here all of our business development managers. If you want to reach out to the person that you've been working with, feel free to give them a call or give them an email and reference this educational series that you just watched. We also have our website, so you can go on and see some of our more recent projects that we've been working on. But we're happy to talk with you here year end, and then help you with anything that you need for 2020. So that wraps it up here for us today. Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Nathan.
Thanks, Tyler.
Guys, have a good weekend, and we'll see you soon.
Sounds good.